push. So we're going to record this meeting. So I think we should go ahead and get underway. So welcome. This is the informational webinar on the pilot research proposals that's presented by the Johns Hopkins AD RCMAR Center. And I'm George Rebok. I am the one of the directors of the center, and I'm a professor in the Department of Mental Health at Johns Hopkins in the Bloomberg School of Public Health. And I'm joined today by other members of our RCMAR team, and I will let them introduce themselves, starting with Dr. Roland Thorpe. Roland?
Yeah, thanks, George. Good afternoon. I'm Roland Thorpe. I'm one of the directors of the Johns Hopkins AD RCMAR. I'm a professor in the Department of Health, Behavior, and Society.
Okay.
Janine, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Janine. I'm an associate scientist in the Department of Mental Health, and I'm also a research associate within the center. And I'll pass it along to Veronica.
Okay, thanks, Janine. I'm Veronica Washington, and I'm the new research coordinator, administrative coordinator for the RCMAR Center.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And so today we are going to talk about the pilot research program, and we're actually going to do a tag team presentation here. Dr. Thorpe and I are going to present together. I'm going to kick it off with just a little bit of background about the RCMAR Center and how we are organized and some of the main aims of the center. A lot of this information and more is found on our RCMAR website. So I'd certainly refer you there to get more details about some of what I'm going to be presenting. And then I will turn it over to Dr. Thorpe, who will talk about the pilot funding process and how to submit an application and how we evaluate the applications. So because we are recording this session, if you do have questions as we go along here, please put your questions in the chat box, and then we can answer the questions either during the presentation or at the end. There'll be time. We left ample time for Q&A at the end. Okay, so we are part of the national network of RCMAR centers. These resource centers for minority aging research have actually been around for over 2 decades now. And during the past cycle of funding, we were fortunate to be funded along with 7 other centers to focus on Alzheimer's disease specifically. So these are new centers, these 8 that are listed here in the slide. This is the first time that NIA, National Institute on Aging, has funded RCMAR centers with this specific focus. And part of what motivated that was the growing concern about the public health crisis that's being created not only by Alzheimer's disease, but also that there are differences in prevalence rates with Alzheimer's disease across different racial ethnic groups, particularly African Americans being 2 times higher prevalence than whites, and Hispanic Latinos 1.5 times the prevalence of Alzheimer's disease compared to non-Hispanic whites. So there's obviously a lot of concern and an effort made to really attract scholars into the research pipeline to address some of these really pressing public health issues around minority aging, Alzheimer's disease, and health disparities. So as I said, we're one of 8 centers around the country. We were funded in 2018, so we are just starting our 3rd year of funding. And the other centers here, there's the McFadden Center in Michigan, University of Michigan and Michigan State. There's the the Native Alzheimer's Disease Resource Center for Minority Aging Research at Washington State, the Carolina Center on Alzheimer's Disease and Minority Research, South Carolina, Columbia, then there's one at Rio Grande Valley, Alzheimer's Resource Center, one at Columbia called JHAD, and then USC, Minority Aging Health Economics Research Center, and one at San Diego called ARMS. So they each have a little bit different focus, but there's this cross-cutting theme of Alzheimer's disease. And there is a National RCMAR Coordinating Center at UCLA, and there are 10 other RCMAR centers as part of this family or network of RCMAR centers nationwide. Okay. So here you see the overall aims of our RCMAR centers. We have our RCMAR center at Hopkins. We have two major aims. The first is to mentor a diverse group of investigators in minority aging research on Alzheimer's disease and related disorders, otherwise known as ADRD. And health disparities from a life course perspective. So we take that perspective very seriously because we know Alzheimer's disease is not something that just emerges in late life, but it has a long developmental course. And we also look at multiple levels and multiple factors crossing biological, behavioral, social, and community levels that contribute to cognitive health and the reduction of ADRD dementia risk in the minority older population. So mentoring is a big piece of what we do. You'll be hearing more about the mentoring process and how we support our RCMAR scientists and the resources available a little bit later on. The second aim is to conduct Alzheimer's research and related disorders research that addresses these disparities in cognitive impairment and ADRD dementia risk in late life, again with a kind of a multi-level framework that ranges anywhere from individuals and understanding individual lifestyles and behaviors all the way up through families, social networks, neighborhoods, and communities, because we know it's not just individual level factors, but also factors that reside in the environment and the community that may contribute through social determinants of health to increased risk of Alzheimer's disease later in life. Okay. On this next slide, you see how we organize ourselves. This is the chart of our center. Dr. Thorpe and I are the multiple principal investigators of the center, and there is an executive committee that really is kind of at the center governance structure for the center, and this executive committee is comprised of these 4 cores that you see here at the bottom. And these cores all work very, very closely together. These are not independent units, but they all work together. And of course, we get together and meet as an executive committee, and the co-directors of each of these 4 cores comprise the executive committee, along with a member of the community. So the administrative core, Dr. Thorpe and I are co-directors of that core, and that's the overall direction and governance of the center. And then there is this research education component, otherwise we call the REC, R-E-C, which Dr. Marilyn Albert and Dr. Joe Gallo co-direct. And this is really the mentoring component of the center, and this REC works with these other cores like the community liaison core and the analysis core to help support our scientists and move them along to independent research and hopefully writing publications and attracting research grants. This community liaison core, which is co-directed by Dr. Janice Bowie and Dr. Ibby Tanner. This is really the community piece of the center, dealing with things like community engagement and community resources, and really collaboration with the community and partnerships with the community, and trying to get our scientists involved in the community and learn from the community and give back to the community in terms of translating their findings to the benefit of the community. And then the analysis core is co-led by Dr. Chinli Zhu and Dr. Jeannie Lasaukos. And this core, like its name implies, is really supporting the analytic efforts of our scientists. And these include both really cutting edge methods, statistical approaches that cut across both quantitative approaches as well as qualitative approaches and mixed methods approaches. Many of our scientists have interest in doing qualitative research. So together then, these co-directors comprise the executive committee. We have an external scientific advisory panel that meets once a year and that we're in pretty regular contact with. That advisory panel, which Dr. Keith Whitfield is the chair of that panel. That panel is comprised of investigators not only at Johns Hopkins, but also people that are external to Johns Hopkins, and they advise us in the overall direction of the center and making sure that we're keeping up with our different deliverables in terms of what we said we were going to do as a center. And then we have a community advisory committee, and that advisory committee is comprised of community members who advise us on the community-related issues and community resources that are available. They are also, at the moment, helping to design and then implement a community resource institute, which will really be part of a learning community that will be an important part of our center going forward. So I think that I think pretty much describes how we organized. At this point, we'll then go to the actual pilot project program, and Dr. Thorpe is going to overview that and kind of walk you through the steps for applying for those pilot research funds.
Thank you, Dr. Rebok, for the great overview. Now I want to turn the attention to talk about what is the heart and soul of our AD RCMARs, which is our pilot program. Like Dr. Rebok said earlier, the research, education, and component is the place where this work is managed. But I want to say that it's managed there, but we really are thankful for our program faculty and our mentors for working with the RCMAR scientists. The overall goal of this pilot program is that we want to prepare the next generation of underrepresented minority researchers to be able to conduct Alzheimer's related research. And this research is relevant. This research should be culturally relevant and has the potential to advance our understanding of scientific research from discovery to implementation as it relates to Alzheimer's disease and related disorders and aging. If selected, the awardees become known as Johns Hopkins Alzheimer's Disease RCMAR Scientists. It's a one-year pilot grant, $30,000 in direct costs plus F&A for each pilot. It's due February 1st, 2021 by 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a start date of July 1st, 2021. So I want to move from just providing an overview to now talk about who is eligible for this pilot project program. Well, the pilot project program is a number of people are eligible. I'll start with the postdoctoral fellows. Postdoctoral fellows who are on track for a promotion to at least being a research associate by July 1st, 2021 are eligible. The thing we do here is we request a letter from a mentor confirming that promotion. The other group of people that are eligible are junior faculty who are interested in advancing their careers in ADRD or minority aging research, and then senior investigators who have not received an R01 or who are transitioning to ADRD and minority aging research. Now, if you've been a RCMAR scientist at any other center, any other site, you're not eligible to participate in our pilot project program. And the other unique aspect of our RCMAR is that our pilot program is not limited to just Johns Hopkins University affiliates. You could be affiliated at other institutions that are within the United States. And we strongly encourage individuals for underrepresented racial and ethnic groups, as well as disabilities, to apply for this NIH support. So I want to take a moment now to go through these requirements. And so for our pilot project program, we have a number of things that we have these following requirements. We have a cover page, and we ask that you follow this in this order when you assemble your application as well. So we start with a cover page, and on that cover page, have your name, your affiliation, project title, phone number, and email. And then you ask that you complete an abstract, and you complete the abstract using the NIH format from the PHS 398. And only on the PHS 398 and only is the abstract need to be completed. And then the 5-page biographical bio sketch. And this is using the NIH format again. And you must include a personal statement. And remember, 5-page limit. And then afterwards, we want a brief proposal and want to limit it to 3 pages. And what's contained in those 3 pages: specific aims, significance, innovation, and your approach. And within your approach, you want to include be sure to include, if applicable, preliminary studies. And then you also want to include the overview of the proposed research and methods. And these 3 pages do not include references, but we ask you to use font type Arial and font size 11 point. And then beyond those 3 pages, you also have your references. And you can use any reference style that you choose. In addition to those items listed above, what we ask is that you also provide us with a list of 3 potential reviewers. And the suggested reviewers that you list, you should not have collaborated with them on grants, manuscripts, or other scholarly activities. And also, one thing we want to make clear is that a budget and budget justification are not required with the initial application. These materials will need to be submitted if the application is awarded. And finally, once you have met all those requirements and pull all those things together, you want to email your application to, in one single PDF, you want to email it to JHAD_RCMAR@jhu.edu no later than 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on February 1st, 2021. Now, we talked about the overview, the eligibility, and the requirements. I want to take a little moment to talk about and describe our review process. So once we get the applications in, we have a review committee that do the initial reviews, and this review committee consists of senior investigators who have this review committee consists of people from the research education component, and myself, Dr. Thorpe, and Dr. Rebok, with Dr. Parisi, who helps us organize our initial reviews. And then what we're looking for is reviewers who are senior investigators who have relevant expertise for that particular application. That's why we ask, when you give us a list of 3 names, this can potentially expedite the process of us identifying actual reviewers here. And each application will have 2 reviewers. And our review style is very similar to the NIH review style. We'll have some written critiques that'll be provided with you, and then we will provide an overall impact score ranging from 1 to 5. But we also will have, in addition to that, we also will have the traditional review criteria that's consistent with NIH, where written critiques will be provided. And after the review, our funding decisions is the next step. And so investigators who will be funded, they then at that time and only then we will ask you to submit a budget and a budget justification. And for those including human subjects, we'll need targeted plan enrollments, and that needs to be in the NIH format. And all of this information, your application, including the budget justification, human subject information, needs to be approved by NIA prior to us releasing the funds. Now, for the individuals, investigators who are not funded, they have the opportunity to review their critiques of the application with myself and Dr. Rebok and other senior investigators that are part of our RCMAR. And we'll also encourage them to apply again in the next pilot review round. Applicants will be notified about their funding decision by April the 1st, 2021. And so what happens after you get the approval, then our awardees will be required to agree to a number of things in our RCMAR. You have to agree to the benchmarks prior to receiving funding, and those benchmarks include submitting quarterly reports and mentoring reports. Also, you have to agree to submit a final report 1 month after the end date of the project, and after the completion of the pilot project, provide updates on an annual basis to our RCMAR progress report so that we can report the success that you have to NIH. And in addition to one of the things that I really find that's that I'm very excited about is being a part of this pilot program. There's support that the RCMAR scientists get. We have a exceptionally strong mentoring program, and it's considered to be a longitudinal mentoring program where where the scientists will have regular meetings with their mentors, and during those regular meetings, some conversations will occur as it relates to discussing and reviewing challenges and barriers and facilitators also, for that matter, to your research. The mentors will also recommend didactic activities that may strengthen the training of the scientists that will enhance the research. And we'll also think about identifying other academic resources. And also, there are meetings with the analysis core that the RCMAR scientists will engage in, and they will meet with this core to review their analytic goals and issues related to study design. And they have an initial meeting, and from that initial meeting, additional meetings will be made based on need. And then finally, the other support area that these RCMAR scientists have is that they have the opportunity to engage with the community core. And this community core discusses a number of things with them. Just chief among them is they review their recruitment plans, and they identify community resources that can help the scientists and better engage the community with their projects and think about how to disseminate the findings from their projects to the community in a way that's meaningful and understandable to the community. And finally, I want to, based on what we've had for the last couple rounds of pilot programs, requests for proposals, I want to just go through to some 5 frequently asked questions. So the first question we get many times, can I include a co-PI on my pilot project? The answer to that is no, and it's no because this is a developmental project, and we really want you to be able to focus on the RCMAR scientists to be able to help better strengthen their skills to move toward becoming an independent researcher as it relates to AD/RD and minority aging research. Can I conduct my pilot project in another country, which is outside of United States? The answer to that is no. The work must be done within the United States. And another question that we get frequently is, does the proposal need to include primary data collection efforts, or can it use secondary data? Yeah, the proposal can have primary data collection, or it can have secondary data analysis. And I also want to highlight the facts that that Dr. Rebok mentioned earlier. Many of our current scientists are doing mixed methods work. So we do one thing that I think is unique with us is that we have people doing quantitative work, We have some doing qualitative work, and I think the lion's share of them are doing mixed methods, so they're integrating both types of methodology. So in fact, yes, you can do primary data or secondary data analysis. Can my proposal include qualitative data collection? Yes, it most certainly can. We welcome qualitative data collection. Are the potential reviewers required to be a part of Johns Hopkins, RCMAR centers, or relevant researchers without any affiliation to these organizations? Well, the potential reviewers, what we do is we first see if we have the expertise here at our center, or if not, then we reach out to our scientific advisory panel. If not, then we go beyond our organization to find the appropriate reviewers for each of the applications. So that brings us to the end of the presentation. And at this time, we will take any questions through the chat.
So while we're waiting for any questions, Roland, I just want to say there's another question that we've sometimes received about need for any kind of preliminary studies to include with the pilot proposal. And if you have those sorts of data, you can certainly include those in the proposal, but we don't require a preliminary study section as part of your proposal.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I don't see any questions in the chat.
Okay. Well, as I said earlier, we will be posting this webinar on our website, our JHAD RCMAR website. So it will be available for re-reviewing at any time. And certainly, we want to encourage anyone with questions to reach out to us between now and when the applications are due on February 1. So please get in contact with Dr. Thorpe and me. And if you have any questions relating to any of the the procedures we talked about today or the application process, we would be more than happy to try to address them. So I think unless there are any other closing comments or thoughts, I will end today's session. Dr. Thorpe, did you want to?
I'd just like to say we look forward to your application.
Yeah, we certainly want to encourage you to go forward with your applications, and we're here to help you in any way we can. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And, everyone have a happy holiday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.